And it's Friday morning. Good morning. We read from Matthew 19:13 to 15. Then the children were brought to Jesus, and that he might lay his hands on them and pray. The disciples rebuked the people, but Jesus said, "Let the little children come to me, and do not hinder them, for to such belongs the kingdom of heaven." And he laid his hands on them and went away. Well, what do we do with that text? There was a well-known German Lutheran theologian in the 20th century named Joachim Jeremias, who wrote a book. I've never actually read his book, but he said that texts like this are clearly baptismal texts and that Jesus was baptizing these children. And he said that based on some use of some word that's used somewhere else. I don't buy it. I don't think Jesus baptized anyone. I think if he had, there'd be a group of people around who considered themselves more special even today because they were descended from Jesus, the ones that Jesus baptized, versus those who were baptized by ordinary people like, Paul or Peter or me. But it does get us to the baptism of infants and what that means. And I want to talk about that for a minute. I don't want to go on for 20 minutes, and I could easily do that, so I'll try to restrain myself. For centuries, from the early church until the present, the mainstream of Christianity has said that Christian parents bring their children to the church for baptism. Augustine even thought that baptism erases original sin, and if you weren't baptized, you'd go to hell. And so parents were urged to bring newborns to the church as soon as they could do it, for health reasons, like 8 days or something. But the church always baptized infants. Now, along the way, there were those who didn't like that. And at the Reformation, once Luther threw off the authority of the church, there were those who said, well, let's go all the way. We don't need to baptize our children. And they developed an alternative theory of baptism. And that theory says, well, I make a decision to follow Jesus, and I go and get myself baptized because it's a symbol of what I have done. And so you hear people say, well, how could you baptize an infant? They don't understand what's happening. Well, all of those things are true if you follow that alternative theory. But we don't follow that alternative theory because, I'm just going to say it, it's wrong. Here's what happens at baptism. Jesus takes our humanity into the water and cleanses our humanity of sin in the water, okay? Now, the cross is a part of that too. Yes, I don't want to get into those distinctions, but that's what he does in the water. What we do is a symbol of what he did. So it relates back to what he did. Just like at the table, we take the bread and the wine because he did at the Last Supper, because he died on the cross. So it's all about what Jesus did back then, brought into our lives now. Read Romans 6, the first 5 or 6 verses, and you'll see Paul brilliantly tying what happens in baptism to Jesus' death and resurrection. And so for Jesus to say, as he says here, let the little children come to me, he's saying, don't turn them away. Don't make them wait until they're old enough, till they understand, till they have faith, till they've made some decision. Bring them here now, and I will bless them. Even if they don't know, even if they don't understand, he doesn't care because he knows what he has done for them. And God has done this for all of us. Some of us, all of us have had this, and now we need to try to engage it and accept it and bring it into our lives. And some do and some don't. But nevertheless, God has acted to forgive, redeem, and restore all of us in Jesus Christ. That's the good news for Friday morning. See you tomorrow.